Where do we begin, dude? There's a lot to cover, I guess, but
Great question, bro. I mean, we got the Epstein files. We got
yeah, I mean, we could go wherever. I don't care.
I'm kidding.
I mean, we have fucking David Icke and his son on this podcast, so like I said, we can talk about fucking anything. Okay.
Hell yeah.
But I mean, I guess we kind of tried to recently, the past maybe 10, 20 episodes, not talk about that thing. You know why? Because YouTube screwed us so many times. Like,
yeah.
It deleted our channel once, then it took down like 12 videos. It gave us a couple of strikes.
Dang.
When we had David Icke on, do you know who David Icke is?
No, I don't actually.
All right, well, let me do a screen share. Well,
please.
Should I do a screen share? Because hold on, let me make sure my screen share is kosher. All right, hold on.
Gotta close the hub.
Gotta close a couple of the hubs here. Got 2 or 3 hubs open. Hang on.
GitHub. Yeah, Grubhub.
Grubhub, Temu, nothing crazy. David Icke. David Icke is the reason why people talk about reptilian aliens taking over the planet.
Oh, hell yeah. Was he like an early QAnon aficionado?
No. First of all, QAnon didn't exist.
Okay.
90s.
That's like the government psyop aspect of it, right?
QAnon is a government psyop, dude. It was some kind of very wacky thing where they threw in a bunch of stuff that was real, a bunch of stuff that was totally fiction.
Right.
Because it was an opportune time of division among the two parties in the United States. And there always is division. That's the whole design of the system, is to have this dialogue of no, you're bad, no, you're bad. Right.
Yeah, no doubt. Divide and conquer.
Yeah. And whereas I have found that when it comes to like business and people doing business, it's like nobody cares about that.
Right.
So, but yeah, so let me do a screen share because I have cleaned out the GitHubs. So now let me see. It has a screen share right here. Okay, I'm gonna learn Chrome tab. Oh, I can do it by Chrome tab. That's way better. Yeah, we just upgraded to this like Google business thing. So I literally just am seeing all these new things. Okay, here we go.
Hell yeah. That's some new ink on your left arm, no?
This has been here like right after, I want to say right after USC, I got it.
Okay, gotcha. Hell yeah, man. Looks fucking sick.
Thanks, man. I don't know. I'm not a tattoos guy. This thing took me about 10 years to settle on this one. So
I'm the exact same way, but I will settle sooner or later.
Yeah. Okay. Can you see this screen?
Yep. David Icke's deepest, darkest secrets.
This is the guy, David Icke.
Oh, this is what I need, honestly.
So David Icke, he's published a lot of books. And like I said, he's one of the OG guys that was like, we live in an illusion. Everything is controlled. Question everything. And the thing that he went kind of popular off of is his idea that there are interdimensional beings that manifest in reptilian form here, but that can also take form of more humanoid bodies, and they have advanced technologies. They basically control this dimension by taking over human bodies and running government.
That was kind of an Alex Jones thesis too, right?
Well, Alex Jones got it from David Icke, and David Icke kind of got it from a combination of what's called the Gnostic tales, which it's basically the occult version of Christianity.
Gotcha.
Do you know what I mean by occult version of Christianity?
Yeah, like some elements of mysticism and maybe like Eastern philosophy as well as like yeah, I guess how would you define it? Like somewhat satanic or like sort of on the darker side of things?
Satanic, that's another
We love
conversation.
Satan in this house. Nice.
Yeah. We actually interviewed the minister of the Temple of Satan in Houston.
Oh, hell yeah.
So we're familiar with that realm, but not because we're fans, but because we're just curious. That's all.
Is he just like a goth troll, or is he like legit in the
David
weird?
Icke?
Or no, this the Satanist, the
minister.
minister, yeah.
I'll show you that too, as a matter of fact. So I mean, we're jumping topics here, but the minister person is, let me go here, go to my channel. All right, and then
Oh, Kurt's truth, hell yeah.
yeah. What is it called? Minister. Yeah, Casey Wittershins, dude. Okay, so she's an actual legit minister of this thing. Okay.
Hell yeah.
Now, thank you, YouTube, for putting your. You see, they put a satanic panic, this little tag down here.
Yep. Yeah, I know about that.
Just to let everybody know that they want to control the rhetoric on my video and not what my video is. So
insane.
My video is about what is Satanism? Why do people do it? We had the minister on because we thought who better than her to tell us what the whole point is.
Of course, yeah.
Now, I don't want to speak ill of Casey, but Casey is the one who basically said in this video that because she was Pentecostal and that her parents were very strict and that her religion pissed her off. And then she decided she didn't want to be part of that. She wanted to be against the grain, counterculture. So she found out about these people.
Yeah.
Now, she also told us a lot of other great, crazy shit.
Yeah.
For the crazy shit that, frankly, I think it's a little weird. Okay, to say the least.
Yeah.
For example, I'll try to find it here in this video, but there's a whole section about the Black Mass, which, when you go to Catholic Mass, you eat the flesh of Jesus and then the blood, which is the wine, and the flesh with the little crackers, right?
Yeah.
I'm not talking about white people. I'm talking about the wafers, okay? And so right here, I'll make it a 1080p so people can kind of try to read it. It goes through this inversion of the Catholic Mass, where instead of the wafers, instead of eating the wafers, you masturbate with the wafer.
Oh, hell yeah. And
instead of drinking wine to represent the blood, you actually drink blood and a combination of blood and semen.
Nice.
Which comes from the ejaculation of the head priest that runs the ceremony.
Okay, great.
Great, right? So this is an official document right here, the satanic rituals, and it's the published for, what does it say here? I can barely read it because but anyway, if you really want to go ahead and find out about it, you can look it up. Satanic rituals.
That's wild. Damn, so they're just slurping up tadpoles.
They're just slurping up tadpoles because they want to spit on the name of religion, basically.
Sure.
Now, in what I have found is that it's beyond a simple, silly, we're just doing this to, be bad or whatever.
Right.
I have found that the true practitioners are convinced, I'm not saying I believe this, but they are convinced that there's energetic legitimacy to this. That by conducting these rituals, you can transmutate energy and use potential energy into something like wealth or power.
I see.
So in recent years, and I want to let you talk because it's not about me, but bro, you start getting me talking about this, I can tell you a lot.
No, I know, I love it.
In recent years, there have been many interviews by survivors of ritual satanic abuse.
Mm.
And they're all over the internet now. They're whistleblowers. There's people that have been trafficked. There's Epstein survivors.
Jeez.
And who among those are legit? Who among those are liars? I cannot comment. Well, what I can say is, based on my little understanding of body language and based on my minuscule IQ, I believe some of them are telling the truth.
Sure.
So, for example, we'll say, what's her name? Anne Luca. That's not her actual name, but we're gonna find it. Surviving ritual abuse. We're gonna find it.
Jeez, yeah.
There you go.
So she was a part of the Satanist cult essentially, and was subject to abuse.
So this is what happened. Like I said, there's a small fraction of these individuals who believe this is legit. And so because it is a ancient practice, it stems from pagan belief, belief in demonology, belief in demon gods like Moloch, who these gods are actually named in the Bible and other texts, ancient texts. So what had happened over history is the actual practicing Satanist demonologists went underground over the centuries. Others joined other religions and they became crypto practitioners or secret practitioners. And then others kind of like totally changed the thing, like, and they're in the public more or less. They can be found among the Satanists. They can be found among the other sects that I don't want to even get into.
Yeah, sure.
And they have to run these things generationally like a business because, as you can imagine, people don't like it too much. So they are part of elite networks which traffic humans, put them in labor, sell their organs, whatever you can think of. And it starts at a young age. And so she was trained and mind warped at the age of, I want to say 5, 6. Her mother was mentally ill and her mother was getting paid off. And basically her mother's life was being taken care of because her mother provided her as a slave.
Wow, like almost being trapped.
Yeah, this is not uncommon for mentally ill parents to traffic their own children.
Yeah, insane.
Actually, it's one of the primary sources of these children are just parental units.
Wow. Yeah.
As well as orphanages, as well as nonprofit organizations, some of which are involved in immigration. Where else can you get kids? You can get them off borders.
Right.
Now, before we continue, Colin Cook is a guitarist. And Colin and I met at USC. Colin, tell people a little bit about yourself.
Oh man, yeah, we must have met 2012 at USC, and yeah, good times, man. Yeah, just been kind of, we graduated 2015, and just sort of started gigging around town, LA. Going to different jam sessions, playing with people. Because the LA scene is cool, right? If you live in LA and you're good, you can pick up touring gigs. So you kind of work your way up the ladder, so to speak. And yeah, so I've been gigging pretty regularly. Been playing with Stanley Clarke the past 4, almost 5 years. That's been cool. We've got an album coming out this coming year. I'm on I think 4 songs. And we're playing at the Blue Note, the new Blue Note LA in January. And yeah, we did Tiny Desk back in June. And then other than that, got this project also with Cameron Graves. It's pretty sick. We just did a new like music video for it. It's kind of like jazz meets metal, sort of in a Tigran Hamazian way, but a little bit more leaning into metal. And then
yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I've got my own project that you know, it's just a fun vehicle for me to explore vocal concepts and make heavy music called Day Persona, like depersonalization, Day Persona.
I like that.
And then yeah, man, just working a lot around town with different producers, musicians, teaching a little bit and living the dream, you
know. All right, sweet.
Yeah.
Why Day Persona? Why?
I'll tell you why. Actually, I experienced an episode of depersonalization one time. It was in 2023, and yeah, I had just moved to a new house after living in the same place for like 6-7 years, and it was the weirdest thing. We went to Target to pick up some stuff, and on the way back, I just started feeling like a robot. Like it was almost like I was watching myself do things, but I wasn't really like. It was like I was a passive sort of observer. And this continued for like probably 4 or 5 hours, and it was really, really scary. It was like I was like, am I going to be stuck like this? Like, you know, like it was kind of like a bad trip, but I hadn't ingested anything. I think it was just due to like the shift in my environment, and you know, I just moved in with my girlfriend for the first time and another couple, and new house after so long. And so yeah, that episode of depersonalization was terrifying, and I kind of researched it online. People talked about similar symptoms, like yeah, it can be caused by a sudden change in an environment, or you know, maybe underlying ambient anxiety. Obviously, we all deal with certain levels of anxiety throughout the lifetime. So, so yeah, that was just like a very scary episode, and kind of like I thought it was like kind of also a cool like sort of psychological thriller type theme to like write music about and kind of have a project be based on. So I know, do you know Andrew Callaghan?
Yes.
The Channel 5 news guy. Yeah, he's talked about it a bit. And he's the only other person that I've heard talk about it and how terrifying it can be to experience that. So, but yeah, it was basically, I had a song called, that I first released called Erase Your Faith in Reality. And I feel like that pretty well encapsulates the essence of depersonalization. So, and then I just thought like, Day Persona, like, yeah, that could be a band name. That's always the hardest part, right? Choosing a band name. So, yeah, man, I've always loved metal since I was a kid, and it's really exciting that metal's entering this kind of renaissance period where there's a lot of collaboration with other styles, because people are going to music school now. So jazz harmony, jazz theory is becoming a part of the general, you know, lexicon, if you will. And also, you know, bands like Animals as Leaders really pushing the boundaries of like what's possible, and really crazy rhythmic stuff. Obviously, Meshuggah is our great forefathers. Tigran, always loved Tigran too, obviously. But yeah, man, just always loved the raw kind of aggression and also the ethos of metal. You know, it's like it's not about age, it's not about looking a certain way, it's not about appeasing some demographic, or you know, making things that are catchy or whatever. It's just like it's really kind of an avenue for just like the most dynamic, raw self-expression that's totally unadulterated by corporate interest, in my opinion. So that's kind of always been an interest of mine. So yeah.
Okay. Oh, you know, I'm a big metal guy myself. However,
hell yeah,
as I learn about the music industry, I'm more selective about what I listen to. But so let me ask you this. I imagine you go to a metal show and 99% of people are probably super chill, and they might be headbanging and like smoshing or whatever it's called, smash or smosh.
Totally.
Yeah, but they're not like shooting people or anything like that, right?
Right, 100%.
Have you seen any deranged individuals among these circles?
You know, fascinating enough. I've got to say, no, I don't think so. It's kind of an interesting anomaly, right? And I guess there's probably a lot of ways to like logically justify why that is. You know, I think a lot of people would assume, you know, people kind of get their aggression out in the music, and that's part of the reason that metalheads are often have such a chill demeanor. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and but I will say, you know, when you're moshing, whatever, doing the hardcore dancing, people are going crazy. Sure, I mean, people accidentally get messed up. They fall on the ground. They get trampled. They get elbowed in the face. You know, bloody nose, whatever, black eye, sometimes worse. But it's crazy because, you know, I've fallen quite a few times participating in mosh pits, whether I wanted to or not. Sometimes it just starts and you're there, and you know, it is what it is. And like the sort of ethos of the community is to pick you up immediately and make sure you're okay, and like, you know, either push you to safety or whatever. So I've got to say, yeah, generally metalheads, there's kind of this sort of rough exterior that's you know, demonstrated or like upheld to an extent, but really for the most part, everyone's just chill and just almost kind of nerdy in a way too, you know. I feel like it gets kind of a bad rap, like, oh, it's probably, you know, we were talking about the occult and, and Satanist type shit, but I think there's an extremely small percentage of people that are actually into that stuff for real, and they're like up in the middle of nowhere in Iceland or whatever, you know. But
yeah,
yeah,
right. I mean, that's been my experience as well. And
totally.
I've honestly, I only found the dark when I was looking for it.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so, what does that mean? Does it mean it's real, or is it in our heads, or it's both?
Right.
So, there's so many examples of major musicians admitting that they're into the occult, or straight up using elements of the occult, like some of the cover albums for Led Zeppelin, for example.
Sure.
Straight up,
yeah.
over it. Or even Bob Dylan talking about how he came back to music because the commander-in-chief told him to. And things of that nature are very strange. Or David Bowie talking about how he got into Aleister Crowley, who was a major occultist, like a Hollywood occultist, and used sex, drugs, in combination of sex and drugs to elicit, like, have ritualistic parties and stuff like that.
Totally.
And
yeah.
that almost killed David. He exited, but his last music video is just a blatant occult ritual.
Yeah.
What was it, Black Star or something? Which one was it?
Black Star. That's right.
Yeah. Even the name Black Star. So, how much of that is the audience aware of? I don't know. Maybe not at all.
Right.
Like you said, I imagine it's very few people. I would maybe consider myself among those very few that is aware of it. But the reason I'm careful about it is I've also realized that music, the way it vibrates, it's not even that it can change your mood.
Yeah.
But it's even beyond that. It's like it has physically tangible and measurable results. So, for example, if you vibrate an 808 frequency through a universal medium like water, you can see how it creates geometric shapes on the water. If you vibrate some of certain frequencies, they look very beautiful. They have a congruent geometric shapes. They have like almost the snowflake type of ink blot type of geometry. Other frequencies look very random and amorphous and ugly. So what I'm implying is that when you're at a concert, your blood is taking the shape of all of those frequencies at any given, which is pretty nuts.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
That is. So that was kind of an epiphany for me, because I'm like, holy shit, like the energy is literally flowing through me right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
So that's where I'm at about this stuff. I
Yeah.
guess you could say there's a level of extra consciousness, conscious awareness that's now happening for me.
Yeah.
What other psychological or physical changes do you think happen after 2023? You had that experience. What have you noticed in your psyche?
Great question. I mean, let's see, nothing like overly profound. I guess definitely, like, as we get older, I feel the pressure to like sort of stamp my musical identity and sort of move away from being solely a sideman, or if I am considered a sideman, to have a more like um a more leadership role, or like be able to contribute my personal creativity, or kind of really be part of a band, you know what I mean? So I've definitely been trying to move sort of in that direction, and say no to things, even if they seem like cool gigs, pays well, it's an artist that's successful. It's like to kind of, say like, oh, but I really want to go in this new direction, and kind of have my brand be built around like a very specific style, with distorted guitars and generally heavy music and sort of shredding and whatever. As much as I like everything,
Right.
but that was definitely something I started thinking about, like, oh, I can't, I'm going to be 45 playing random bar gigs and not like realizing the stuff that I really want to play, type thing. And it's kind of interesting how, like, there's this philosophy in college of, oh, versatility is like the best gift you can have. Like, say yes to everything. Say yes, say yes, say yes. Be super versatile, yada yada. But it's like, in my opinion, I think I've become significantly like more like successful just for my own perspective, by like really kind of sort of like saying no to more things, and like really trying to sort of carve out a niche for like what I truly love, and like what I really feel like that I want to offer the world. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So that's been cool. And yeah, yep. Pretty much, I guess that would be the main realization. But also, as creatives, we're very open-minded to things. So it's like we have a lot of interests, and we're very spontaneous. So it's like I still like to keep it interesting and not get like too far down any specific rabbit hole, to kind of stay grounded in what's accessible, I guess, to an extent, to most people, and also just not go too far down the heavy music thing. Like, also keep up with beautiful music, and very maybe soft, dynamically singer-songwriter type stuff. So but yeah, man, that's kind of it in a nutshell.
Yeah. I'm going to branch off the singer-songwriter, the last thing you said.
Yeah.
When I first started playing guitar, I was like maybe 15 or 16. I started by playing songs.
Yeah.
Just basic chords and songs, right? And I think that for anybody, quote unquote, that's like got a little bit of a inclination towards music, it's very easy to pick up some chords and start singing on the guitar. That's kind of what the guitar's for.
Sure. 100%.
And then I'm like, oh shit, like I think I can write songs. It's pretty easy.
Yeah.
I don't even have to, like, I can just move this one bar chord around, it's pretty beautiful. and that made me really like, or it personalized the music experience. Whereas before I was playing classical piano.
Yeah.
And that's the most unpersonal, like kind of cold version of music, I would say. It's just
100%. Yeah, I agree.
Reinterpret this piece of music from 400 years ago. How much creative input can you put into that? It's not that much.
Right.
So, but then I thought I was hot shit in high school, and then I went to college where everyone was the hot shit in high school, and I was like, oh, okay, I guess like let me actually learn how to play guitar now. And then now I find myself coming back around full circle, where I got good or whatever that means, and then I'm like, well, is music about playing as fast as fucking possible?
Dude, 100%. Yeah.
Because I started looking through Instagram, and I'm like, everyone's doing the same fucking thing now. It's just,
I know, it's crazy.
I can't believe it that it's gone to this point. Now, psychologically, I can understand.
Yeah.
When you scroll and you see, you're like, oh, that's cool.
Right.
And then that becomes a view, and then that becomes a share, and then you see.
Sure.
But I don't think we remember music solely for being virtuosic.
Yeah, 100%.
We remember music for its melody and its ability to be timeless.
Sure.
So I got back into songwriting. How have you approached songwriting? Lyrically, how do you approach it?
Yeah.
What is your workflow?
Yeah, man. Well, just to piggyback off everything you're saying, I mean, it's like for me, like the whole shred thing, even when I was a kid, like sure, some of my teachers would be like, oh yeah, that's that's just cheap, there's no melody or whatever. But some of my more like supportive teachers would be like, oh, I think it's great. Like if he's into that, I think that's gonna be like not like an end in itself, but a way to get noticed, because there's just kind of the idea of like an elevator pitch. And if like you're in a room with a good musician and they can hear you for a sec and you play some burning shit, they're gonna like pay attention a little bit more than if you're just like, playing some normal shit type thing. Like they're gonna notice you a little bit more. So from that perspective, I think it can be a valuable skill to obviously hone technique, and because it allows you to be able to do stuff. But there's this Meshuggah quote from a song. I can't remember the exact song, but it's and so in my struggle to break free from restraints becomes my very shackles.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I when I heard that was because I just related to it so much, because like in college, I remember we were both so obsessed with technique, getting the perfect right hand, getting all the shit.
Right.
And then it was kind of this idea like, oh yeah, once I build enough technique, I'll be able to play anything that comes to mind, and my vocabulary will be completely limitless. And then I can really focus on making music or like playing what's meaningful type shit.
Yeah.
But like, no, the reality is like what's meaningful and what, that's like a whole pursuit in itself. Like the amount of hours you put into technique, you could also put into sound design or into playing emotively or dynamically. So that's kind of a startling realization to have, like, damn, I spent all this time like trying to shred, and then like, but why doesn't like what I'm playing have the same impact as, BB King or whoever, someone who plays with less chops traditionally.
Right.
So yeah, definitely that's something I've been thinking a lot about in the past, like, 5-10 years, is like guys like Philip Sace, like people that just have this crazy vibrato and like play with an attitude, because I feel like in the struggle to have perfect technique and be able to play anything, a lot of times the attitude and the style with which you play is sometimes like overlooked in pursuit of like speed or cleanliness or whatever. And like, yeah, one realization that as I'm mature, I'll always come back to, especially with the chemical help of certain medicines, if you will, is that it's not what you do, it's how you do it. You know what I mean? So that's a realization I have to constantly remind myself of. But so from that standpoint, like you said, I mean, the algorithm rewards this kind of short attention span, like quick, impressive burst of speed or whatever.
Right.
And then I sort of start to see like people are incentivized to speed their stuff up or to do 100 gazillion takes to get that one thing to, and you got people like Robert Glasper coming out and be like, musicians, like, where's the feel at? Where's the music? Everyone's just out here chopping, playing chops and doing their stuff. And it's like,
right.
Well, yeah, that's kind of what the algorithm unfortunately rewards. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And the only way to make it kind of in this current industry is like with the absence of labels and older methods of funding is to like garner a followership on social media, and you have to cater to the algorithms to do that, unfortunately, for better or for worse. So it's like, yeah, people are incentivized to shred, and unfortunately that makes them overlook maybe the more musical aspects of creativity. But anyways, yeah, back to your initial question of like, yeah, like thinking about songwriting and everything. I think it's just always, that's the hardest thing, right? The blank page, you sit down, it's like, where do I start? And sometimes if I'm a step away from it for a while, I'm like, do I know how to write music? Like shit, you know? I'm like, oh, I record something, like, oh, that fucking sucks. Let's try to, let's wipe it clean. But it's like always after I get in the, just forcing myself to do it for a few days. It's like by day 3, 4, like things are flowing so easy. You know what I mean? And it's funny, I'm sure you've had this too, where like I'll write a whole song, I'll just like force myself to get back in there. And then the stuff towards the end of the song is so much better than the stuff in the beginning because it's like I've warmed up the muscle, so to speak.
Right.
So yeah, for me, it's like a little, it might be, I'm blessed to have all these sick guitars now. So it's like a lot of times I'll kind of like pick up a guitar and it's like, what kind of tuning is inspiring me? Is it a baritone? Is it drop A? Is it like a dropped standard thing? I've got a couple guitars like in C standard, D standard. So that's really fun. It's like, even though it plays like an E standard guitar, it just makes you pull out things you would never think otherwise. And then I've obviously got the 8 strings, the 7 strings. So could be a guitar, could be a cool sound, could be a lyrical motif. I just saw a really cool video of Paul Gilbert talking about that the other day, where someone said, how do you, and he said, yeah, if you have a blank page, that the options are limitless. So that's kind of paralyzing in a way. It's like hard to start anywhere. He said, but if you take a phrase like, and the interviewer said something, he's like, well, let's take that last thing you said, how to write a song or something like that. He's like, think about it. That's got a rhythmic flow to it. How to write a song. He said, so now I can like kind of put that over guitar. And so it's like kind of just, taking a small nugget of information and theme and variation, essentially,
I just thought of a song right off of what you said. How do you write a song? And I started writing a love lyrics in my brain just now.
Yeah. 100%, man.
That's exactly right. There was a period of time where I went off of that, and I started songifying people talking. Maybe
I remember that.
That's right.
That shit was sick, like kind of a Julio Delgado, Mono Neon.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that was fun. But the main thing I got out of that is that inspiration is everywhere.
Yeah, man. Hell yeah.
Yeah, I just thought, like, when you said, how do you write a song? It's like, how do you write a song when you're everything in the book, or something like that? How do you write a song when you're everything, right?
Exactly.
And even people talking, even like the horns on the streets that have a rhythmic pulse to them, you could make a whole loop out of that or something. The possibilities are endless. I remember at USC, I think it was the leading member of the Beach Boys.
Yeah.
Doing a master class, and he said that the Beach Boy, he's like, I wrote many of the Beach Boys hits from a dream.
Wow.
And I don't know if you've ever woken up from a dream and written something, but it definitely happened to me. So then I started, later in my 20s, I learned about wave states, brainwave states, how the brain is slower right after waking up and right before sleep. And during sleep, if you are in deep sleep, you can achieve theta wave brain state, which basically your brain is firing, like it's on 10.
Yeah.
When you theta wave, and all of your memories and all of your interactions and all your ideas are percolating and interacting at once. So you can have profound creative realizations during this time.
100%, yeah.
You can lucid dream during these wave states.
I just lucid dreamed last night.
Me too.
You did too? Hell yeah.
Yeah. I remember you getting into that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've definitely been into that as well. So as I guess you can tie this into the idea of, who is it, Mark Turner, who said this, that
Mm.
your musicianship is the sum total of all your psycho-spiritual experiences and beliefs. And
Mhm.
it's not just the shit you're practicing, it's what you think about, it's what you do, it's what you read, it's what you listen to, everything. And how did you get into some of the on the edge ideas about this reality, Colin Cook? Because I know that you and I have, for example, talked about how we think the story of Pearl Harbor is not the right story. It's not the
Yeah.
right. The official story is whack, right? So, how did that happen for you?
Great question, man. I mean, when you start to notice like certain things that just don't quite add up, you know, when you really start paying attention to the reality around you. And there's, you know, there's all kinds of theoretical explanations, like the Heisenberg uncertainty principle. That's like a one often listed in pop culture. Um, but yeah, I mean, I guess just kind of like searching for some kind of like deeper meaning, because a lot of the most obvious thing is like, you know, organized religion, Christianity, Islam, Judaism, whatever. But you know, to me, it never really made sense to believe in this, you know, omniscient sort of bearded presence in the sky that, you know, sees and knows all. It just never checked out for me. Even though I was, you know, went to private religious school as a kid, it just always seemed sort of farcical to me. So I think looking into alternative forms of spirituality, you know, like meditation, Buddhism, which is not quite as sort of mumbo jumbo-y as some of the others. And yeah, kind of looking in that direction. And then obviously people purport to have incredibly spiritual experiences on psychedelics. And that's a really interesting thing, right? Because like, why do these specific compounds trigger this kind of response? Like, why does that happen? You know what I mean? And then furthermore, like, why are there similar responses and like similar accounts of visions and hallucinations and people who do these? So that's like a fascinating thing. Like, obviously there's layers to reality that we're not able to comprehend. I definitely believe kind of in like the fact that we have a very specific lens through which we view reality. So we see it through the human lens, obviously, and we can't really pull back the curtain, so to speak, without the help of certain, you know, psychedelic compounds, assuming that's what's happening. But yeah, and then also obviously like dreaming, like no one really understands what's happening in dreaming. You know, I definitely had tons of very vivid dreams as a kid. Definitely experienced sleep paralysis a lot, and then I had a friend tell me like, oh, you know, if you have sleep paralysis, you can will yourself to go out of body. And so the next time that happened, I tried to do that, and it was like one of the craziest, most psychedelic experiences I've ever had. And I was completely sober. I was like maybe 17 at the time. And so just kind of really exploring the outer realms, I guess you could say, of consciousness and getting into philosophers and thinkers that are also interested in that. I think it's just a cool way to kind of like expand your mind and to really like have a more holistic view of reality, because obviously the human perception of reality is so narrow and so specific, and it kind of negates the fact that every creature has a unique perspective, and like obviously our perspective is uniquely human, and there's things that we're unable to see because of that, you know.
So divulge as much as you'd like, but what's an
Yeah.
example other than Pearl Harbor you would say that the story doesn't check out for you?
Yeah, you know, I mean, the at the Epstein stuff is the most obvious one currently. You know, oh, we have all the files. Oh, the files don't exist. They're a hoax. Oh, actually, we do have the files. Here they are. Redacted. You know, that shit's
Right.
crazy. Definitely Building 7 is kind of the smoking gun for me.
Okay.
That doesn't make any sense at all. I mean, the only building in history to go on record is you know, collapsing because of fire. Didn't get hit by a plane. I don't know.
Yeah.
Who knows why?
Spontaneous demolition.
Yeah, spontaneous. Exactly.
Mhm.
You know, there was a lot of weird sort of false flag type activity happening as of late. I mean, various attempted or successful assassinations of you know, very prominent political figures.
Yeah.
With a lot of like very strange externalities that haven't been explained well, or have sort of been glossed over or kind of swept under the rug type thing.
Yes.
Yeah, obviously, like, what was the reason for us? I mean, us constantly installing dictators in other countries. You know, the most current one is going to be Venezuela if that happens. But
Right.
obviously, Iran. You know,
Mhm.
I mean, yeah, the list goes on and on. Once you kind of like, once a certain like a crack happens in the reality, and you're like, wait a second, really? That happened? I remember you were the one who told me that there was a declassified CIA document that Hitler like went on to live in Argentina.
Mhm.
And that
FBI,
was,
but yeah.
yeah, that's right, yeah.
Mhm.
But you know, whether or not it's true, I mean, it's still like a legitimate unclassified document, and like we know, you know, the Bay of Pigs and certain false flag events have been declassified, so it's not a complete stretch of the imagination to
Mhm.
you know, to think that, oh, there's got to be a lot of shit like that that we just are completely left in the dark about. But
It's never been confirmed, whatever confirmed means, you know, because when
yeah,
we say confirms, like who's confirming it? But
right,
that Hitler was in Argentina. However, we know that there's hundreds of thousands of expatriates, Nazis in Argentina, in giant Aryan communities. Like you
yeah,
go to towns and it's nothing but Germans with blonde hair and shit. And
right,
what is that about? Well, they obviously figured out an exit strategy for if they lost.
yeah,
But that wasn't even the only exit strategy. And the thing that happened, we took a lot of their scientists and made NASA and other organizations with it.
yep, straight up.
And so then when you're like, what? We did what? NASA.
Yeah,
And
right,
it's just tough. There's basically two ways of looking at it. It's like, I'm going to live my life and do my best. And what am I going to do about it? Or my version of is, I don't know if I'm going anywhere after this. So I want to know as much as I can right now.
yeah, for sure.
Does that make me selfish? Does that make me strange? I don't know. But I will say it's way more entertaining, way more fun to connect some dots and make sense of this reality than to put my hand in the head in the sand and constantly be confused.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't want to be confused or feel like I'm being duped or I'm just a zombie walking around.
Right. Because it's so obvious that so much of the media is, if not the entirety of it, is like some form of propaganda. And I feel like it kind of compels a sense of agency within us to like really kind of look at certain facts surrounding, you know, these events that happen or whatever, and just say like, wait, like, but that part of the story doesn't really add up considering like these variables. Like, why are okay now? What incentive do they have to spin the narrative like that? And how many
Yes.
people are blindly gobbling that up and kind of like that's influencing their day to day. That's influencing like the way they think about themselves in the world and like how they communicate with other people. And yeah, I mean, it's like it's funny. I'm sure you've noticed this, but like definitely older people, you know, our parents, people of that generation, just they're like essentially like life support hooked up to Fox News or CNN or MSNBC or whatever, and they take that as gospel, and they just even when they know that it's fake, and they admit like, oh yeah, fake news, whatever, they
Mm-hmm.
still like allow themselves to be influenced by it like all the time.
Why? Why? What is that?
I think it's just habitual. It's just kind of raised on it. That's kind of what they know. And now there's obviously new avenues for gaining information, which, by the way, are also becoming increasingly psyoped and
Mm-hmm.
surveilled. Um, you know, Larry Ellison just purchased TikTok. He's about to own pretty much all of the media. That's kind of fucking crazy.
Tell the viewers what is a psyop.
Psychological operation. essentially something that might be put into place either directly or indirectly by either a government organization, FBI, CIA, by maybe a large media conglomerate, by maybe a political activist or purported political activist, by some sort of dictator or world leader. I mean, just sort of some initiative to spin a narrative or kind of spin a certain way of thinking to like a large group of people. So, you know, basically a propaganda campaign. I mean, it's easiest to do, you know, or you saw it a lot, obviously, in the Soviet Union, you know, World War II era. Obviously, North Korea is the most obvious, like, modern example of that. But I mean, there's a lot of, as we're talking about right now, like, extremely suspect things that have happened in the United States and that continue to happen. And yeah, I was fascinated to learn that I think back in the 50s, there was literally a course in high school all about knowing how to like sort of look out for propaganda, knowing how to identify propaganda.
There was a course in high school?
There was a course that they were teaching in high school back in it was like a 4-year period in the 50s, like sort of around the area of the Cold War.
Russian propaganda.
Exactly. Like, or just how to look out for propaganda though, because it was, and the purpose of it was to exactly look out for Russian propaganda. But that course, it was a mandatory thing in the 50s. And it obviously, the problem with citizens becoming skeptical of information as being labeled propaganda or looking at the signs of propaganda is their own government can't propagandize them. You know what I mean? So yeah, that only lasted for so long for obvious reasons. And then I think after that, you know, we had Vietnam and the Bay of Pigs and Korean War and fucking, you know, Desert Storm and 9/11, the war on Afghan. I mean, all the stuff, you know. So
yeah, okay, you've done a good bit of reading up on this, so I can just tell by the words you're using. So we don't have enough time to discuss all this.
Totally. Part two.
There's got to be a part 2. Yeah. But I'm going to do a rapid fire sequence of questions at you right now.
Hell yeah.
Okay? Who are your top, more popular mainstream artists currently, and why, if any?
Definitely. Oh, mainstream? Like mainstream. Well, let's see. I mean, I like the stuff the mainstream stuff that's happening in metal. I like Sleep Token. I like Knocked Loose. Loathe is like one of my favorite bands right now. They're super sick. I guess in terms of like mains, I like who's that bluegrass cat that's Billy Strings. He's pretty sick. I love that he's kind of really gotten popular. You know, I've always liked John Mayer. I kind of hated on him as a kid, but now I've come to see him as an incredibly talented triple threat. You know, singer, writer, and player. I think Ed Sheeran writes pretty catchy shit, even though I'm not really listening to it necessarily. I thought Billie Eilish was kind of a breath of fresh air in the context of you know, popular music.
Right.
Yeah. Zed put out a new record recently that's really cool. It's got some cool harmonic stuff. Really like this band called Microwave. They're kind of like post-grunge, nostalgic pop punk alt, but they have some cool chord progressions and stuff.
Sweet.
I'm trying to think what else. Yeah, really, I've gone back and become obsessed with. I had like a grunge phase in early COVID. Just going back and like reabsorbing, you know, Nirvana, but also getting deep into Soundgarden, Stone Temple Pilots, you know, Temple of the Dog, anything Chris Cornell adjacent. But
you know the Chris Cornell Chester Bennington story? Do you know that story?
I just heard about that recently, that they were both doing a documentary on pedophilia or something, and they both got
murked and they stopped the documentary.
Yeah. So that's pretty insane.
That's pretty insane, dude. And they were two of my favorite like rock vocalists.
For sure, man. Yeah.
And so I mean, see, if like, for example, if we were both on a project together and we're both dead back to back, I mean, it's like, come on, dude.
Yeah, I know.
That's pretty shady, dude.
Yeah.
That's like straight mafia shit right there, dude.
And it's easy to do to them because they could, you know, it was blamed on, drug use and they're rock stars. It happens, you know, overdose or whatever.
Right. I would say that they specifically had all the reason to live because they were tackling a behemoth, which is this underground, really dark network, and they were surviving through this, and they had the ambition to release. So I would say that the motive or suicide being the motive is just illogical in that context. But sorry, I'm going off a tangent right now. My other question for you, how are you using AI right now? What's some of your favorite AI music stuff, and what's the trajectory for music industry?
Great question. You know, I've been messing around with Suno a bit, actually, just for fun, because I've seen some ads for it, and it's the type thing I'm extremely conflicted to use anything AI based or to work with AI, considering how it essentially steals everything we're doing and kind of repurposes it for its own uses. But I think it's definitely here to stay. I think there's an argument to be made for the ceiling of its development, just based on like the current infrastructure that's going to be able to power it. Like, will that, like, can it go on exponentially? It might hit this sort of like a finite ceiling just with what the resources that are available. But it's insane, honestly. So at the moment, I don't like to prompt it for things, to have it do things for me necessarily. I like to think of it as like a time saver. Like, how is my time better spent? So one thing that I hate doing is programming drums for stuff, because you got to go in and automate all the velocities, and then you got to try to slide things around so it feels good, and then you never keep it anyways. Like, I always hire real drummers anyways, and I'm not a mix master genius, so to have a bus with 16 ins and outs and whatever, it's all kind of above my pay grade, so to speak. But so I do like, if I'm working on a musical concept, it kind of like speeds up the demo process tenfold for me, because I can be cooking on some riffs. And sometimes it's hard to even realize the potential of a musical idea until it's like polished. But one use case that I've been using it for is, like, maybe I spend a couple hours writing some riffs, and then pop them in, have it program some drums, and that kind of gives me arrangement ideas. Like, okay, like this drum part is really sick. Like this riff could probably happen longer with this drum part changing and kind of recontextualizing it. So yeah, for me, it's like, rather than like do tedious things like programming drums or like MIDI programming of various ways, kind of using it to expedite that process and either gain inspiration or just kind of keep the ball moving along. Because I think the best music that we grew up listening to was bands, and everyone kind of had a role. Like, there's a drummer you don't have to program drums, there's a drummer, and you don't have to know how to self-mix because there's a label. You know what I mean? And you don't have to figure out how to sing and write lyrics because there's one guy in the band that does that, So kind of treating it like that. I mean, the nature of the current artist economy, creative economies, you got to kind of be able to do everything yourself. You got to video edit, sound edit, mix, master, play multiple instruments, et cetera, So it's like, I think in using anything that can help you focus more on like your true strengths and continue to develop those, like, like I feel like my time is better served doing something musical or like doing something guitar related or whatever, rather than like programming drums or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So those are my current favorite applications for it. But I mean, it's still a slippery slope, right? Because sometimes I go to my hometown and I drive somewhere, and then my brain goes blank, and I'm like, wait a second, like I know how to get to this place, but like it's not in there anymore because I've been using Waze for so long or whatever. You know what I mean? So I do worry about that, like the parallel to AI of like, do I know where this snare drum should go?
Right.
Or if I'm not like as actively thinking about it.
So certain parts of your brain might atrophy.
Exactly. That's a great way of putting it. Yeah.
And do you think we'd ever get to the point that there would be hyper realistic androids actually performing the music live?
Yeah, I just saw a video today of robots dancing in China, doing backflips and like looking very nimble and not robotic, looking very human-like in their movements. So I mean, I think that's a lot of people are. I mean, you got to be optimistic. It's the only way to live. You know what I mean? But a lot of people are like, oh, but live music's going to be the final frontier, and it's like, yeah, but for how long? I mean, don't kid yourself. Maybe 5 years, maybe less. And then people are like, oh, well, it can't mix, and it's like, well, it's going to be able to in 6 months to a year.
Yeah.
But I even showed it to Stanley. I showed it to Stanley, and he was like, sounds incredible. He's like, the guitar's real though, right? The guitar's real. And I'm like, no, the guitar is AI. He's like, oh yeah, we're done.
So as a musician, we can say that it's good, right?
It's getting or like for humanity, or
I mean, I like the quality of how convincing it is.
The quality, honestly, has been completely reality shifting for me in the past couple of months, because I've popped in every type of thing, and like crazy time signatures, really, and it gets all the minute details. It'll play the craziest drum fills. Even if I just pop in a riff that's like an odd time and no click or anything, it'll like play crazy drum fills that set up every hit and like perfectly understand what's going on, and it'll do sure it's got glitches here and there,
right,
but the level is unbelievable. And then sometimes you'll like the other day I was messing around. We just did a voice memo into iPhone. Eli Koskov, me, him, and this guy Ian Hubble were playing. You know Eli Koskov?
Maybe.
He went to USC. He was one of Bruce's students, but he's a burning jazz guy. But he played a beautiful solo, and we popped that in, and it did a vocal and everything, and it sang his solo like in a convincing way. Jeez. So it's stuff like that, or like I'll record a guitar part and it'll change it to acoustic, and it sounds like a real acoustic, So right. That, and just the speed with which it can do it, it's just mind-boggling. So I mean, it's very exciting, but it's also very dehumanizing, because it's gonna change the dynamic of the entire music economy. Like what are you willing to pay people to do with this tool?
We are celebrating technologies that replace what it means to be human in some aspects. And we equate technological growth with liberation of the human spirit, but I'm not so sure that is the case. I think we have forgotten as a race that the human body is the most advanced technology that in this universe.
Yeah.
By far. It still is. Hopefully for a while it'll be the most advanced thing. And so it's mind-boggling that we have not invested as much into just figuring out how to upgrade this thing biologically in and of itself. Just the way you're able to have extreme epiphanies going back from the grocery store, whatever it was, like, as you said, when you were moving places.
Right.
That was your machine that did that.
Yeah.
That was not AI. And so we are literally thinking things and then making them.
Mm-hmm.
That in of itself is next level.
Next level.
Because if we take time out of the equation, it's basically we're gods.
Right.
So here we are, gods trying to replace ourselves.
Yeah, I know, right?
It's a little weird.
I mean, the initial idea was great, right? Like let's create something that can take over all these menial tasks that we're plagued with on a day-to-day basis. Cooking, cleaning, answering emails, whatever. Even though there's a human component to those, right? Like you can cook artfully, you can clean thoughtfully and artfully, you can reply to an email in a very human way. But it's like, I thought the initial job was for it to replace these sort of menial, like blue collar type things. But now here we have it completely ransacking the entire creative industry, whether it's film, music, whatever. So that's definitely very disconcerting. But I think we're in the early stages of it too. It's kind of a Wild West type thing, but it'll be really interesting to see, how they evolve legislation around it, and how what happens.
Best case scenario, we don't forget to take care of ourselves. Worst case scenario, it becomes into this completely corporatized world.
Yeah. for sure.
And then maybe it'll just stay somewhere in the middle because the universe will balance itself out.
Right.
So, but I think we need to continue this conversation some other time because
let's do it, man.
I do have someone coming up to the studio right now. And then the other thing is I have to ask you about all the other stuff you mentioned. There's many things that you mentioned like right off the bat, the Bay of Pigs, blah, 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 blah. You said like 5 things right off next to each other. And besides that, some music stuff as well. But ladies and gentlemen, it's Colin Cook.
Armin Monsesian, thank you, my brother. Great to see you, man. Let's do it again for sure.
Yeah. Other than that, maybe if I'm in LA, I'll let you know. If you're ever at this side of the neighborhood, let me know, and I'll see you soon. All right, man.
Sounds good, brother. Peace out.
Peace.